War is usually explained with words like security, defense, and national interest. But behind every conflict, there is another story that rarely leads the headlines. It is a financial story, a story about how money moves upward while pressure moves downward. When war begins, governments do not suddenly run out of money. In many cases, they gain access to more of it. Budgets expand, spending limits disappear, and emergency powers unlock massive funding streams. Defense budgets grow almost overnight, borrowing becomes easier, and questioning spending is often framed as unpatriotic. This is how governments grow financially during war, not because war creates real wealth, but because it creates justification. Justification to tax more, borrow more, and control more. War makes extraordinary financial behavior feel normal. Public debt rises sharply during wartime. Governments issue bonds, take loans, and promise repayment far into the future. Trillions of dollars are borrowed in short periods of time. Those debts do not disappear when the war ends. They stay, they compound, and citizens pay for them long after the conflict fades from memory. Inflation becomes a silent tool. When governments print money to fund war efforts, the value of existing money declines, prices rise, purchasing power falls, and savings lose strength. This acts like an invisible tax on the population. People feel poorer even if their income stays the same. Governments benefit because inflation reduces the real value of their debt. What they borrowed becomes cheaper to repay in weakened currency. The public absorbs the cost through higher living expenses. This transfer happens quietly, without a vote, and without clear accountability. At the same time, defense spending explodes. Weapons, vehicles, technology, logistics, and security services consume massive budgets. Contracts are signed quickly, oversight is reduced, profits increase for industries connected to war. These companies do not fight, they supply, and supply during war is extremely profitable. Demand is guaranteed, payment is backed by governments, and risk is minimized. War creates some of the most stable customers in the world. For ordinary people, the experience is very different. Taxes rise directly or indirectly, prices increase, job security weakens, social services lose funding as money is redirected toward military priorities. Healthcare, education, and infrastructure often take a back seat. Wages rarely keep up with inflation during wartime. Workers fall behind even as they work harder. Small businesses struggle with higher costs and unstable demand. Families adjust by cutting spending, delaying plans, and accumulating debt. The cost of war is not limited to the battlefield. It shows up at grocery stores, gas stations, rent payments, and utility bills. Energy prices rise due to instability and disrupted supply chains. Transportation becomes more expensive. Everything connected to movement and production feels the pressure. War also reshapes the labor market. Some industries expand rapidly, while others contract. Skilled workers are pulled into defense-related sectors. Young people are redirected away from productive civilian careers. Long-term economic potential is weakened. Governments gain more control during war. Surveillance increases. Financial monitoring tightens. Emergency laws allow faster intervention in markets and personal finances. These powers are rarely fully reversed when peace returns. Once governments expand financial control, they tend to keep it. War becomes a gateway to permanent systems of oversight and centralization. Citizens adjust to reduced freedom gradually, often without realizing what has changed. Another hidden cost is opportunity. Money spent on war is money not spent on innovation, education, healthcare, or economic resilience. Entire generations lose access to progress because resources were redirected toward destruction or preparation for it. War also increases inequality. Those closest to power and contracts benefit the most. Those farthest from decision-making pay the highest price. Wealth concentrates at the top while financial pressure spreads across the population. Even when wars are fought far away, the financial impact reaches home. Governments justify budget cuts by citing defense needs. Inflation erodes savings. Debt limits future public investment. The cost follows people for decades. The public is often told that war is necessary, unavoidable, or temporary. But the financial consequences are long-lasting. Children grow up paying for conflicts they never experienced. Taxpayers fund interest on debts created before they could vote. This is how war makes governments financially stronger while making people financially weaker. Power accumulates at the center, pressure spreads outward. The system rewards scale and control, not individual well-being. War does not enrich nations in the long run. It redistributes wealth upward and forward in time. Governments gain control today, citizens lose stability tomorrow. The true cost of war is not only measured in lives lost or buildings destroyed, it is measured in slower growth, higher debt, weaker currencies, and reduced opportunity. It is measured in stress, insecurity, and financial exhaustion. When the fighting stops, the bills remain, the interest continues, the inflation lingers, and the public quietly adjusts to a new, heavier reality. War makes governments richer in power, control, and financial reach. It makes people poorer in stability, purchasing power, and freedom, and that imbalance is not accidental, it is built into the system. Understanding this does not require taking sides, it only requires following the money.